Alright, so a lot of you wanted another part to this, so I'll be doing it. So this is part 2 to what if female Deku was the spider mother from Demon Slayer. So, we'll pick up where we last were with, Yui and Dabi staying in the, rundown estate that they found. Now, those of you who were wondering that some of you haven't seen Demon Slayer, so I'm just going to describe what it was. Basically, picture like a traditional Japanese house with glass windows and paper doors, and the thatch roof, and just picture it then make it run down to the point where nobody's touched in years, with broken windows, some holes in the doors. That's what it looks like. So Yui and Dabi staying there for a while. So we'll cut to. So I think Dabi's in his 20s. So I'd say Yui is 18 right now, so this is how she looks when she's 18. Now, Yui and Dabi know that Endeavor put Rei in a mental institute, and they are enraged by it. To the point where if they see him, they will kill him on sight. And basically, Yui's been catching anybody who's been wandering off the trails and getting near their house by using that cocoon thing the older sister has in Demon Slayer, and basically dissolving them into a meat slush and then eating it. Which is what she's basically subsisted off for the past couple of years, because it also gives her nutrients as well, but she can eat other foods. And Dabi's been robbing banks and getting supplies for them, but he's been getting the supplies in disguise. Now, Yui does go have a disguise as well. Essentially, so everybody knows what she looks like with the teal eyelashes, I don't know her exact eye color, but they look like a pale blue, so they're pale blue, and the white hair. So whenever she goes into town to get some supplies, she basically puts in some colored contacts, some green eyes and a green wig. And she goes under the fake alias Izumi Midoriya. Yes, I'm going to be using that fake alias a lot in these what ifs. But if you come up with another name for it, I will use it. So, as she's walking through town under her fake disguise, she bumps into Shoto at one point, as when Shoto tries to help her up, she notices him and she immediately runs off. With Shoto being confused by this, as we'll cut forward a couple more months to where Shoto is taking the entrance exam, and he gets in, with Yui and Dabi doing some odd jobs from time to time from different villain organizations, and eventually they land on the radar of the Shie Hisaki, where Kai Shisaki, or as many of you know him as Overhaul, finds it interesting that these two have been on the radar of both the heroes, and on both the heroes to capture them and the villains for work for them. So Shisaki basically tracks down their location and ends up finding them, with Shisaki presenting an offer to the both of them, to where he would offer them protection from, to where he would offer them protection from the heroes and police in exchange for them to work for him. Now Yui and Dabi do think about this for a while, and they agree. And they agree to this. With them entering into the Shisaki headquarters, and Yui seeing a young girl with a horn, 2 red eyes, and I'm going to say I think Eri's hair color is, well, I mean, it's white in the anime, but it's sort of like a tealish color in the manga, so I'm going to say it's white, with white hair. As Yui asks who the girl is, as Overhaul states that is Eri, and she is his adoptive his daughter. As Yui does pick up a scent of fear whenever Overhaul is near Eri. With Yui pointed this out to Overhaul, as Overhaul then tells her his plan to use Eri to create a drug that destroys that will erase quirks. With Yui thinking about this and stating that Overhaul's plan might be a bit over the top, with the fact that it would be near impossible to produce enough of the drug from Eri to wipe out all quirks, because even though they don't have their quirks anymore, they'll still have the DNA to pass on quirks. So either way, he's not going to be able to get rid of quirks permanently, that is. With Overhaul thinking this over, and Yui stating that, how about this? Stating that there is one way you can stop quirk usage, is if you demoralize the masses to stop using their quirks. And the way we do that is by killing the heroes and the villains. Just think about it. As she says this, Overhaul thinks about this as he agrees to the plan. Now, a couple months will pass with the League of Villains attacking Class 1A at the USJ and failing. As Yui ends up developing feelings for Shisaki, and Shisaki does in return. Now, at this point, since Overhaul won't be able to erase quirks permanently, he's started to lighten up and be a lot more kinder to Eri. So this one, Overhaul is going to be a lot kinder now. With the Shisaki and Yui eventually getting married, and she becomes Eri's, and Yui ends up becoming Eri's mother. Now they both do develop plans together. Now Eri, since Overhaul is a lot nicer to her, and Yui's just nice in general to her because maternal instincts and all. Eri is actually working with them instead of being forced into it. So Eri's a lot more inclined to help them. As Yui does help Eri to control her quirk by her producing webs with cocooned webs, but she doesn't cocoon Eri in them. She just makes them, and she says to Eri to focus to try and rewind them to where they are no longer cocoon. As Eri tries this, and it does work, but she ends up losing control, where Yui does have to end up knocking Eri out with a quick chop to the back of the neck to knock her out. As Eri would wake up a couple hours later with Yui being incredibly worried due to maternal instincts and all that. As Eri then says that she doesn't know how to control her quirk that well, and she just lets it all out at once. With Yui then suggesting that Eri tries to release it only a little bit and not let it out, as she tells her to picture a door with water, picture a massive wall with picture a dam with a large amount of water behind it. And there's the little hole at the bottom of the dam that lets the water out. As she tells her to picture that and then use her quirk. With Eri doing so and succeeding in controlling her quirk effectively, as Yui is very proud of this. Then we'll cut forward a couple months later with actually a couple weeks later, with Eri having full and complete control of her quirk. To where I'll say she's a lot older than she is in canon, so she's about 14 right now. She's 14 as Shisaki indoctrinates her into the gang, effectively making her a member of it, and she gets her own little mask. Now, Yui doesn't have a mask. Because reasons. The other reason is mainly because I'm too lazy to look for an actual picture. So we'll cut to a couple months later as Eri is out on a mission with Rappa and the other members and some of the other members of the gang, with Overhaul and Yui being at the base alone. Now Dabi is also on the mission as well, so Dabi's not there. With Yui basically Yui and Overhaul in sort of like a underground garden. I'll say that they have an underground garden where Yui keeps her spiders. Where Overhaul walks in and finds Yui like this, as Yui is sort of like doing that finger wagging thing to telling Overhaul to get over here. As it would get to a couple hours, it would then be a couple of hours later, with Yui feeling a bit nauseous, as she would then go to throw up. With Shisaki basically panicking at that point, as he would, if he doesn't know what to do, as he would basically go to grab a pregnancy test, and and he would hand it to Yui, and Yui would use it, and Yui would find that it is positive. So basically, Yui is pregnant right now, and now her villain name has changed from Killer Queen to the Mother, as when Yui and Shisaki Yui finds out that she is pregnant, she immediately tells Shisaki, and Yui is basically very happy at this point, with Shisaki also being incredibly happy because I'm guessing he always wanted to have a biological kid of his own. And once Dabi and Eri get back, they see that Yui is grinning, and Yui is basically grinning from ear to ear, while Shisaki is also quite happy as well, where they ask them where Dabi and Eri end up asking why are they both so happy, with Yui stating that she is pregnant, and Shisaki is the father. With Dabi giving off, since he's like an older brother and he's still very protective of Yui, he does let off a bit of his blue flames, as Shisaki is a bit afraid right now, and Eri is just jumping with joy, finding out that she's going to be an older sister. With a couple months passing, with Yui giving birth to the older brother. Now, since Eri is already in here, the older sister won't be there, so Eri is going to be the older sister, and the older sister won't be here, but Rui will still come into play, okay? So don't worry about that. For you Lower Moon 5 fans, he's still going to be here. So, with that out of the way, the older brother is born, and he does have the spider-like body that he did in Demon Slayer. So he has the spider body, but he still has a human head, as he does have Yui's venom spitting ability. So, and if you don't know what that can do, the first time we see it in action, it literally dissolved through a tree. That's how strong it is. As once the older brother is born, Yui and Shisaki are both very happy, as the sports festival happens, with Yui watching it with Dabi, Eri, and Shisaki, and with the older brother that is currently resting in her arms, as they see the sports festival concluding with Katsuki Bakugo winning, and Shoto getting in second place, as Yui then states that I don't quite like that Bakugo kid. He's too loud and obnoxious. With Dabi, Eri, and Shisaki agreeing with her, as Yui does put the older brother to bed, as the older brother is asleep at this point, as they then head out on a mission to deal with rival gang members, with Yui and Eri making a very interesting team, with Eri basically rewinding their bodies to the state before they could manifest a quirk. So like they still have an adult body, but their quirk has been rewound to the point where it can't be used. So it's not completely gone, it's just that they can't use it. With Yui cocooning them and cocooning all the rival gang members, and Overhaul basically doing his disassembling and reassembling thing. With the gang and Dabi just cremating them, with all the gang members being dealt with as Yui and as Overhaul's gang begins to move out of the area before the police arrive, with Yui taking her cocooned victims with them. As once she gets back, she basically cuts a hole in one of them, and a smaller hole in the other one. As the one with the larger hole is for her, while the one with the smaller hole is for the older brother, because like his mother, he gets more power from more human flesh that he devours. With him basically getting stronger and stronger the more he eats. Now this was quite a large villain that was dissolved in the cocoon that the older brother is feeding from. So he does get a lot stronger from that. Now, the League of Villains have attacked UA on multiple occasions, and eventually they end up being captured, and the League of Villains is dissolved. And that is where I'm going to leave it off. Don't worry, this will still be continued, and I'll see you guys next time. Adios.